What I plan to do over the next 15-20 minutes is, try and make a very objective analysis of a discussion we'd had earlier in the day, which was around, network expansion and what should be typically the set of reasons why somebody should do so. The route I will do so is two ways. There's a lot of international benchmarking and I'm bringing in a lot of the international knowledge that we come with, working with some of the leading retailers worldwide. And the second is, to try and put a bit of an economic rationale to why somebody should do so and why somebody shouldn't. And maybe see some examples which are way closer to heart. Just before I start off, big thanks to Rahul and RAI for giving me this opportunity. I think the second thanks is for slotting me with the second worst slot in a day, which is just before lunch. That's normally, something that I would, I'll probably slate second to just after lunch. So thanks very much once again. Great. Let me, start off with giving you a sense of, some really big international guys and what do they do when it comes to retail saturation. And we come to what does retail saturation mean in a minute later. But fundamentally, that in a city like Tokyo, there are over 2,000 stores of just 7-Eleven. Leave aside the total number of 10,000 odd convenience stores that a city like Tokyo has today. That's what you call retail saturation, where you've got somebody who's present literally, defining at what degree of walk or kilometerage is every point of sale accessible to every consumer. Another example, Starbucks, a very impulse mission, to buy a satiating hot cup of coffee while on your way, whatever, guarantees that in New York you can find a Starbucks 7-minute walk, worst case, anywhere. Closer to home and, emerging markets, if we look at Jakarta in Indonesia, practically the size of Delhi, has 6,000 stores, 6,000 convenience outlets amongst different, convenience players. I'm not even counting supermarkets and hypermarkets here. We are talking about 1/20th or 1/25th, that sort of a number in Delhi. So, I think the way to set, the only reason I am sharing some of these statistics is just to set the context here. That, and all I'll try and do is objectivize discussion in the morning. The opportunities to play in India are at every catchment. Every 500-meter circle that you make actually spends as much money, which can make a concentrated effort just being in a city extremely, extremely useful. I think, we heard from Rahul, we heard from Raj. Everybody spoke about the fact that, managing a much more concentrated and a much more, what you would say, customized network is something which is way more advisable rather than going wide. I think the only one disclaimer I would like to put here is that if you are a very high on missions, a very high on frequency visiting retailer, that is the way to go. If you are a destination, if you're an Apple store, if you're an IKEA, clearly not. People will travel the distances because of a very different degree of experience and attraction that your store might have to offer. But if you are somebody where it is just a top of potatoes to be bought, or be it your standard pills of aspirin, you need to be close. You need to register yourself to be proxime and convenient, and that is basically the theme of this presentation. Where the term used by retail Puritans, and I'm talking of theories written 70-80 years back, is called retail saturation. Retail saturation basically means you gain disproportionate share, and let me please stress the word here, disproportionate share, by being concentrated. Your pure physical presence, being deep in a geography, in a market, can give you multiple advantages, both from a supply chain and from a supply model perspective, but much more from a consumer registration perspective. Why do people take, or why, we've seen our FMCG guys take, billboards, hoardings. Why do they do outdoor advertising? It is to register. What are you doing with the store? The very fact that you've got such a high network and you see a store at such high frequencies, it is registering in your mind. It is registering in the consumer's mind, and consumers actually play that back. So from a retail saturation perspective, key thing to consider is disproportionate share. The second thing and the most important thing, which again was alluded by Mr. Raj Jain in the morning, it is by using a multiple format store or outlet. It is not to say that you cut, copy, paste whatever is your existing format which you believe is successful. It is about a degree of customization, be it either to the catchment or to the nature of the real estate that you may have invested in. But there is nothing called a very standardized product which can literally be replaced everywhere, everything. Even if I recalling some of the work with somebody like a 7-Eleven, it is not that in Tokyo every retail space is a square box with exact